Yeah, it should be.
Okay, we're on. Welcome back, everybody. This is our February Council on Aging meeting. And let's go around like we usually do and just introduce ourselves. People who may not know who we are. I'm Earl Perlman. I'm co-chair of the Council on Aging.
I'm Ann Vandersloot, secretary.
Bill Shipley, a member of council meeting.
Elena Brudos, I'm on the select board. Carol Cotras, treasurer.
Diane Howell, member. Donna Stein, member. Betsy Enso, vice president, Friends of the Mendon Elders.
Amy Wilson, Kent Senior Services Director. Peg Noguera, co-chair.
Okay. So let's start with the secretary's report from last time. Enjoy. A chance to kind of review it.
Elena, I ended up sending it to your personal email. I didn't realize, remember when you were running for office?
Oh,
And I
okay.
had it in, so when I put your name up, it came, your.
Oh, okay, all right.
Town email. I don't know
Yes.
if you got it, but that's where I sent the notes.
Okay, yeah, I may not even have noticed because
Yeah.
sometimes I get multiple email addresses filtered into one thing. so-
Yeah, so that's where they went into your personal email.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Motion to accept the secretary meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the secretary's meeting notes.
Second it.
Okay. Any questions or concerns or issues or anything? Okay.
The response is usually.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's go on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, treasurer's report, January 2023. The COA gift account, we had expenses of $1,445, which was half cost for the signage for the traffic. COA pantry account, we had donations of $1,050, 5 private donations, 1 business donation, and expenses for merchandise from Market Basket and WB Mason for $1,072.81.
That's not about watch there. Between the two, between the expenses.
That was good though.
Yeah, that's
That's
very good. That's very good. Nice to get the donations.
Doing well.
Any comments on the general ledger? Okay.
Yeah, so we're right on track. If you look over to the right-hand column and follow it halfway down, it says, it's percentage available. 52.91% of our budget is still available. And this is when a lot of our bigger expenses start to come through, $1,000 for Tri-Valley and so on and so forth. So we're right on track. We're halfway through the fiscal year, so we're in good shape. Our salary line items for staff and for myself are right on track too. That's good. Very doing well. I still have a lot of questions about this new system. It's nowhere user friendly like the old system. So I'm going to require more training because you can't look from 1 month to the next and see, like, the old system, you could follow the ending balance would be the beginning balance the next month. And it's not easy to follow that, so. I just,
Are you able to do it from the center or do you have to travel to somewhere?
no, hopefully someone will do it with me remotely. I'm having right now, I'm gonna get a new computer, so I supposedly could do my own deposits. I have yet to do them. We're given, given by coworkers, actually, I've been given a list of instructions. The instructions don't jive with what I'm seeing on my computer. So I was informed that I should call the company. I called the company. Took 3 to 4 days for them to get back to me and for us to connect. And when I did, the gentleman said, oh, sorry, this isn't he wasn't calling me back for training. He was calling me back for support services. And I said, this is for last week. This is over a week that I've been wanting assistance with this. So I made the treasurer's office aware of the issue because I'm directed to call the company. But what happens is you call and they say all of our advisors are assisting other clients, leave your information. I did it 3 days in a row. They finally emailed me on Friday saying that 4:00 on Friday, saying you've been assigned to someone, only to find out that the person I've been assigned to is a support person and not a training person. So because I was explaining to him my issue, and he basically stopped me dead in my tracks and said, no, I'm support. You've got it on your computer, which it took me a while to get a new computer and all that, and get it set up. Julie had to authorize the computer, so it has not been easy for me.
That's too bad.
Too bad.
But your time is valuable.
It is valuable.
And being on the phone for 3 days, it's not.
So we'll get there. We'll get there, because the bottom line is, financially speaking, we're in very good shape.
Good.
Can I have a motion to accept the treasury report?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, before we go on to the director's report, I want to go back to secretary to have some correspondence.
Yes.
Oh, so
We rushed out of the treasurer's report. Amy asked me to read this correspondence. It came from our 2022 Senior of the Year. And he wrote a lovely note to all of us. Dear, his name is Kevin Rudden, if you had forgotten. Dear Chairs Earl Perlman and Peg Noguera, I am writing to offer my thanks to you and your colleagues for the wonderful Senior of the Year event you put on for me last fall. I also apologize for the delay caused by both work schedules and the birth of my first grandchild in sending this letter to you so long after the event. I was honored to be nominated and chosen. My aunt, cousin, and sister who attended know little about Mendon, but what they saw that day impressed them. The event showed them the real spirit of Mendon, friends, neighbors, and volunteers. 2 of my 3 children attended, and they saw me being recognized and congratulated for the years of service that they know I've enjoyed giving to the town over the past 4 decades. I don't want to forget thanking Amy Wilson Kent for all the hard work she did to make the event happen. I greatly appreciate it. All regards, Kevin Brennan.
Very
Nice
nice.
letter.
Very, very nice.
Okay, director's report. I'm sorry.
yes, it says it's recording has started.
Okay, it's not video. It's not changing the cameras. It seems to be only doing one camera.
It wasn't working last month.
Oh, was it? Okay. It wasn't working.
Oh, see, I just shut it off.
Smile.
I don't teach you to sit over there.
Changing my seat.
You look lovely.
Yes.
Always.
Did you want to give a director's report?
Yes, I do, just very brief.
I even washed my hair this morning.
You won't.
Rotate everybody's seat.
Different people. Yeah, rotate the tables.
At the top of the crew, is that? Yes, so for the month of January, well, we all know the weather was not too bad. But at the senior center for the building, we had the furnace clean. This is something that I had requested last summer. I put my dibs in. I'm the one that basically brought this person to Mendon, put the dibs in, and he's been busy with many other departments, more severe issues trying to get their furnaces working. So our cleaning got put off till January. but our furnace is running fine. Everybody can hopefully test at the senior center, nice and warm. We also had our state review of our water usage, and we did very well, except for one issue, just a slight issue is that we have to come up with, it's a vapor barrier valve to put outside that I believe it stops water from, say, the hose running back into the building, the system, water that could be contaminated. So everything that we're doing, as far as our water usage at the center it's great. It's on track. Our filter, we're changing the filter that we put in during the pandemic every 6 months, and it shows the sediment and the dirt and all that. So I think that was a good investment to have that done.
I have a question about what you're talking about, it's the outside faucets. We only use those in the nice weather? Are they like shut off now?
Yeah, they shut off now. All right. they shut
So
off
you
now.
have time to get that vapor thing that you need.
Actually, Mark's probably getting it today.
Okay.
Other people got involved. Dan Byer thought he had some that he bought extra for the Sparks department. Couldn't locate them. Mark, our van driver, looked, said, oh, I think I have one at home. We're just gonna go to Ace Hardware. And pick
Okay.
one up. And we'll be in compliance, so that's good. It's nice when, you get the report back and you've done it, you're doing everything right, so. So January was a very busy month for training. So we have, I recruited 2 new tax abatement workers. And what happens after I recruit them, we have to process the paperwork between my department, our department, and HR. So, so that was done. And then they then are invited to come work at the senior center, shadow another worker, say. And then from there, placement is made. I've got other departments that are asking for assistance. So it's nice. It's nice we've got 2 new people because we've lost a lot of people during the pandemic. We went from 20 workers down to 10 workers. And I think right now with these 2 new workers, we're probably up to like 7. So, but I'm hesitant to ask the public to, consider this program because until we get requests from departments saying, I need help or we need help.
Not enough hours for everybody.
Exactly. And I want to try to be fair to people that have been on the program. So, but it seems to be going, the program overall seems to be going very well. So we had the 2 new tax abatement workers. I also coordinated with Tri-Valley to hold a new training there for the nutritional program because a couple of our people, our volunteers got sick this winter. And so we were shorthanded. And so staff, Melissa, myself, people that non-Tri-Valley workers jumped in to help out, which is appreciated, but we did a training and out of that, we've got 3 new people trained, including Phil. Thank you, Phil. Carolyn Ross, who's one of the new senior workers, and then Julie King. Julie joined us as just a general volunteer as well. She joined the center as a volunteer first, and then I asked her about the Tri-Valley program. So it's it was a pretty substantial training, and then there is a test involved, and the test doesn't sit well with everybody. Not everybody that took the class passed. So hopefully they'll, come back and take the test again. So
They always do that. I don't remember doing
Is it a
that.
written test?
But it was so long
it's
ago.
true and false. There's one part of the test you have to get 80%, another part you have to get 100%. All has to do with food safety.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but you
temperature and
would
so on.
have taken it, you would have taken it.
I must have taken it, but I don't remember. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, so that's going on. And then lastly, I coordinated the staff board training on the 25th. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we have had more
What was
useful
that last thing you said?
staff board training on the 25th.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's basically everything else I have to say will be interspersed.
Okay, the Tri-Valley.
We met on January 18th, and actually it was a virtual meeting, but Ted and I showed up. Well, it said most of the time virtual, you can show up, but I guess because the flu was going off, they didn't have it, but we end up showing up. So they're looking to find a veteran to join. They want someone on the COA. I did ask Earl, but he said he's involved with a lot of different things, so.
Yeah, you're on the.
Would you say that again? The veterans what?
They're looking for a veteran to be on the board on the.
Oh, a veteran to be on the board.
Because they want to do a little more outreach with them. So that's what they were looking for. They're also having a blood drive on April 4th, Future Room. And they just really talked a lot about their financial stuff. Wasn't really much more. Just those couple things. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Thank you. And for the Friends of Mentor Elders, I think you passed over.
Right,
Anything for us to do?
there is a report here, yes. The Friends of Mendon Elders will hold their monthly February meeting this coming Monday, February 13th. With a change in the structure of the meeting, the board will meet prior to the meeting at 10 and the fellowship from 10:30 to 11. The business meeting will be held at 11 to 12. Lana Mars is now in charge of the fellowship program. We'll be calling members to beg and donate an item to be shared at that time. February 14th, Valentine's party, you need to sign up to attend. There is a charge of $5. President Dottie Garceau, president of the Friends, is currently working on filing the taxes. As a 501c corporation has stated they will be completed before April 15th. You will be notified when completed. Also, Dottie will be away the entire month of March. Please address any issues and needs before she leaves for approval by the board. The board will also meet to approve the COA budget this coming Monday. A Dairy Queen fundraiser will be held on Thursday, February 9th at the Dairy Queen in Milford from 5 to 9 p.m. Please come out and support our cause as a function of Friends. At the last one was $380, and that's pretty nice. Thank you to Alan and all Saints for arranging this. We are also working on a board and member approved town-wide yard sale, bake sale, book sale, and knitted items. Sounds like a lot. To be held in June 2022, right after graduation. All informed as to the date, drop off of items, where to get permits, and notifying them in the chief of police. We are in the process of bringing on a new scholarship coordinator, as we will be giving a scholarship to a qualified Blackstone Valley Tech and Nipmuc Regional High School senior. The nominee for coordinator of this position will be brought to the members for a vote this Monday. I will remain as an assistant in a case of backup, in case we need anybody. Until there, I think we should always have one. We will announce the new coordinator at the next COA. We'll also notify both schools of our new choice. The board members will be discussing any changes to the scholarship program. And the coordinator will choose his own committee to make the final choice in selection of the applicants. Boards and Friends will also be discussing any changes to our bylaws. The Dine Out Club with Tom Irons will be on Wednesday, February 15th. Please sign up or call to let him know how many will be there. Sue Carlson, Beverly Fior, and Don Sun have arranged a trip for a Long Island Lighthouse cruise on June 2nd. The fee will be $145 prepaid. Information is in the Mendon Senior newsletter, or you may call the Senior Center for more information. That was a mouthful. Any Homestead, the volunteer T-shirts that were ordered are now in, and those requesting a shirt can see Kay. The charge is $18 cash or payable by check to the Friends of Mendon Elders. Your $5 dues are now due and payable to the Friends of Mendon Elders, and our thanks to all that have included the donation, which goes to support our programs. Much appreciated. The next meeting will be on March 13th. Respect to be submitted by the Vice President, Friends of Mendon Elders.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
That, draft then,
Let's go ahead.
it'd be June 2020.
Oh, when you were talking about the bake sale and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Sorry about the typo.
Oh, that's okay.
Betsy, I have another one. I think maybe you type up the Lighthouse Cruise you have down for June 2nd. I thought it was the 21st.
And I have it down as the second.
It's the 21st.
It is the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's three different, I hope everyone's looking at that. There's a couple of different trips up there. Beverly's worked really, I haven't really worked on that, I have to say.
So I think the March newsletter can probably have a whole page.
Yeah, that'd be
Just
good.
trips.
It's on June 20th.
21st,
21st.
June 21st,
Oh, 21st.
Yes, 145 per
Thank you.
person.
145 a person.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll start, old business with the country update.
Ian wants to speak to this at all.
Well, it seems to be going along very well. We keep getting, the people have mentioned it so generous. There's constantly food coming in. They leave it at the post office. They bring it here in person if we're, if we're open, or they leave it in the box in the gazebo. And Amy has volunteer. I haven't met all those other, but she has some new volunteers that work on Monday, and they put the food away, they check the dates. and everything's going along. I worked yesterday and I got all the orders filled. And so you're all caught up.
We know we're
Yeah.
delivering, we don't be delivering tomorrow, so it's really kind of going along nicely.
Yeah. And,
We had youth
there's
volunteers
always, there's
too.
always things we run low on, that people like, I noticed, what's running out now, it's toothpaste. We need toothpaste.
So that's on the list, yeah.
Yeah.
But, we can't have everything all the time. We try. And we do put the words out, like that's something we could put out on Facebook. So a lot of volunteers,
Yeah,
because the universe people just are very generous. They'll drop things. So something like toothpaste is a really nice thing.
Well, because it's not covered under their snack program.
Absolutely.
That's the thing
Yeah.
that they have to.
Laundry soap, regular soap, all those things, so. Yeah, so, but I think overall it's going well, and again, a lot of youth volunteers are starting to come out of the woodwork and eating hours for National Honor Society and so forth, so it's going well.
The senior center edition. Okay.
So I'm gonna ask Phil to I put Phil in touch with Dan Byer. Dan Byer stopped me when I was in the town hall a week or so ago and said, hey, you know what? He was making a suggestion about something that we can do, perhaps protected on the annual town meeting for some testing and whatnot. So I said, can I put Phil from my board in touch with you? Absolutely. So you guys have.
Yeah, we're gonna meet today at 2 o'clock to start doing that. Also, I sat in on the open conservation meeting last night. I think it's the preservation. And they're talking about the spot on Providence too. And they're gonna unplug into that just to get information from them because it's a budding property. My question to them is, when you collaborate, co-share, utilize same facilities, council invest in engineering dollars and a few other things, to be proven to maximize that. And if we need something, potentially do that. Just join it.
I think initial thought was the well, could we share a well? And I think that's been determined that no, we can't share a well. But yes.
I'm gonna put probably some of those same things, but I just want to be mindful of that. If they're gonna put the community in there, make sure that we have all the consideration of expansion.
Parking would be nice to have some adjacent parking, so.
These numbers are good too, that'll kind of help.
is this to do with the well? You're talking about it, the 52
We're just talking in general. They're expecting plans by the late April, first proposals and all of these. So we'll be able to see what the designs and scope, size of that project's going to be. The thing that is important, I think, is probably, as Dan indicated, we probably need to get something on the May 5th town meeting. Our needs, initial needs to get this thing rolling. So I think the meeting with Dan will be good, and then we'll start to practice a little bit.
Don't let that one person.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I finally sat here long enough, I better get going.
Follow up to the signs out here in Providence.
I guess I need for all you to speak. I will say it was such a dreary month anyway that the signs really didn't work a lot. But I think when they work, they're good. I'm surprised when I'm going over the speed limit or, but I think last month we also talked about, we're all surprised that it's 40 miles an hour. But I think when I go through on a good day and I'm only doing like 35 and other people in front of me and behind me are too, that makes me feel good.
You know, what's interesting is my car, whatever reason, always tells you what the speed limit is and you're driving through areas and it says 30. When you hit that sign, it says 30 miles per hour, even though it says 40 on the sign.
Well, can anybody speak? I know we can say that, all right, Diane, you know better than anybody. Why don't you speak to what your knowledge is?
When I was funny, on the way in this one, I was following a car in and it came up Hartford Avenue East. We turned onto Providence Road and we're driving along and then all of a sudden that car slowed down. It's the sign. So we were both doing about 35 miles an hour. But then as we got up closer to the senior center, that car was taking off away from me. And I said, all right, he's building up his speed. And so, but there was a police officer walked across the street from me. And then getting up further, there was tree work being done and everything, so everything had to slow down. But if you're coming in towards town, the speed limit sign on one side of the road changes to 35, or across the street from it, going out, it's 40. So it's kind of.
It
complicated.
must have been 30 at one time, because when they programmed my car, they programmed it, hit that area, it was 30.
Oh, wow.
You know, I can almost see what you're talking about, because the signs are back away
Far away,
back
yeah.
from the
I
senior
wish they were a
center.
little closer,
So
but
that-
yeah, no.
When they see the sign, they slow down, but then they're going along, and then they start to pick up speed. You know, I can see how that could happen.
But I think the speed should be changed there to 35. I can see, understand coming into the center of town, it drops down to
Sure.
35. But coming out, it shouldn't bump up to be 40. It should stay 35 until you get past the highway barn and
What are
everything.
your thoughts on that, Alana?
Oh, I mean, I agree. It seems a little bit fast to go through that area, so.
We just find that when you're driving
Yeah.
down towards the center, it's like, the sign is almost like too far away because it really is very congested where we are. We've got the highway department with big vehicles pulling out and they're not going very fast when they're
Yeah.
pulling out. You've got the fire department, you've got the business across the street.
Yeah,
It's
it's that-
really a
It's
congested.
that curve in the road. Like when you're waiting to pull out,
Yes,
you're, and then all of a sudden, sometimes you're ready, for me, it's not so bad, because I'm going right.
you're going right, but I'm going left. I'm
Yeah,
looking.
yeah,
looking,
I'm
looking.
going down that bend, and they're, it's like coming in too fast.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so I mean, my next thing would be to have the speed limit decreased in that area.
We have to find out what's the process for doing that.
Right.
I don't know if it's a zoning issue.
I'm not sure if it's zoning or highway department, but certainly we could look into that. I know it's, at least it's a town road and not a state road, so I think it's, yeah.
That sign is a solar sign.
Yes.
So how long does it hold the sun? Does it work at night at all?
If you have sunny and cloudy
Yes.
days, it doesn't work.
Right, but probably it must be 24 hours. If it'd been a sunny day, I think it holds. Because some of us have solar light, I've got some solar lights around my house and they stay
Yeah.
up pretty much, as long as it's been a sunny day.
It's supposed to be.
Right,
sunny.
January was dreary.
I can make some questions and questions from areas like, where do we go to investigate the lowering the speed limit?
And why don't we try to get like the highway department or the fire department, like with us, in other words, go with a united front. It is very congested there.
One thing I know is a lot of them have said, you shouldn't be there.
I don't know,
I know.
we're not gonna listen to that.
I know, that's one concern, Alan he was at first kind of against it, but then he was very cooperative and did this for us. We don't want to make him think we're ungrateful.
It isn't anything to do with being ungrateful, it's a safety issue.
I know, well, I know, but if we make too much of a fuss, it might not go over too well.
Well, that was gonna be bringing that up. I was wondering, should we send Alan a thank you note for putting those in?
Yes.
And.
All right, I can do that. All right. But no.
Good idea.
Send them a note, and we can ask them to
We'll butter him up before we.
Yes, but you lower the speed limit.
They have to have the same problem. Trucks are pulling out,
Yeah. I have that problem where I live, but it's a state road,
Oh, yeah,
Route 16.
yeah.
Those car carrier trucks, they start pulling out at 5 in the morning, 5 at night. The trucks on Route 16 are,
Traffic must be
Increase.
horrible there.
it's increasing.
Amy, do you know what number Providence Road, the highway department is? It's 62.
64 is between us. I'm not sure if they are part of 64, but I'll get that for you.
Okay.
See
Thank
if
you.
I can get it on.
Okay, let's go on to the FY24 budget.
Okay, so I received an email, not just me, but all of the department heads received an email yesterday that this appointed date, Wednesday, March 1st, for budget meetings, including, I believe it's BUT. It's pretty packed agenda. So our administrator was asking if any department would like to change to next week or perhaps to March 15th. So that's one thing, one item. And I said I would speak with you all today. Normally Peg would be attending, something like that. Oftentimes Diane is attending as well. I'm sure Phil might want to attend that evening. I'm thinking March 15th would be our better bet. I don't know that we'll be ready for next week. And the reason for that is, it was just recently brought to my attention, like our budgets have been submitted since back in, November, December. And it was just recently brought to my attention that our trash removal for many of our departments is going to be taken out of the Board of Health budget. And I emailed Kim about it yesterday. She was not aware of this. And so if that's the case, we have to do some investigation to find out how much it's going to cost us to have trash pickup, maybe work with another department. I put a call into Harvey's, and Harvey's unfortunately didn't reach me. They called back and said, oh, you're all set. We're already picking up your trash through the Board of Health Department. So there's just, I'm not going to be ready. We're not going to be ready for next week for. To make anything common.
So when did you want to do
The
it?
15th of March was the other date that Kim gave us.
Okay, so that's what we're aiming for?
Yes.
And what time would that be?
I'd say we're probably going to be on the agenda no earlier than 7. So what was going to happen next week is they weren't going to be able to start any of our departments until probably 8 at least. So it was going to be a really late, long meeting, and I don't think, and we were already on for 8, so I probably would have bumped us up to 9 or 10 or something like that, so.
You know, I really wouldn't be in favor of sharing our trash. We can't be taking our bags of trash,
Over to the.
hauling them over to the,
No,
first of all, I know there's a little path through there, but what are you gonna walk on the road? No.
no, and we're talking, we've got some messy stuff from the.
Is that what you're suggesting?
No, that was actually brainstorming with Dan Byer. He said,
Who would we share with?
maybe the highway department.
That's what I'm saying. How do you get access to that?
Exactly.
Unless they're gonna bring theirs over to us.
But my thought too is we don't need weekly pickup. We very well suffice with every other week.
Especially when we have an event that's different.
I know this building has gone to the containers, and I was surprised when I drove into work. Monday, and I saw all the containers lined up in front of the building, and I guess that's because of all the work that's going on down
Can't
here.
get down.
They can't get down there, so this is new, but so a lot of the departments, like the library, have containers. Our trash is gonna be more than containers, I believe, especially it's messy stuff.
It is. When we have an event, it is. There's a lot of trash that particular day.
Yes.
There's food put into the, you said like maybe every other week, but in the summertime, wouldn't that get awfully smelly?
It's true too.
Yeah.
That's true too. But so right now, we're looking at, Dan's made some calls. We did get a list from the Board of Health has a standard list for people that don't want to use the town's trash system through Harvey. So Dan made me aware of it, and you go online and there's all these companies listed, but he's finding that it's pretty pricey, so.
I suppose you get the best price when there's a lot of you.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So again, I made Kim aware of it, which again, she didn't seem to be yesterday, and we'll see where that goes. But I guess this is something that the Board of Health, and what the new agent didn't realize, he said, oh, you guys will all have to pick it up. I said, well, we've already created our budgets. Nobody let us know back then. It just in passing, he let one person know, and I did call him this week and asked him about it too, so. We'll see.
What's the reason why they are not picking up the trash?
Well, I believe it's something that's been a long time coming in that the budget that they have is a very large, substantial budget. I want to say it's 500,000. And all the residential trash pickup runs through there. And I'm thinking that what I've kind of understood, I haven't heard it directly from a Board of Health agent, is that, or not agent, member, is that to separate municipal trash waste and residential. Are you aware of this at all?
I've been following it, no.
Okay. And you're not alone. So, and again, it's something I think that board had decided to do, but hasn't brought anybody else into the fold. So
Did
it is
the
something.
Board of Health decided to do that, or, okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
I'm not sure if I heard you right. Did you say right now our trash pickup is in the highway department's budget?
No, it's in the Board of Health.
Oh,
But one suggestion was, do we want to share with the highway? I can't imagine that that's.
no, I
gonna
can't
work.
see how that could work.
And they're not going to want to watch.
Unless they brought theirs over to
No,
us.
that's what I was thinking. That would be the most, they drive out and come in, dump it and then leave.
And their trash is going to be very different than our trash too. Yes. So again, this is something very new to many people, and
We probably have to have 2 dumpsters if they were going to be bringing their trash over to us. Would they get overfilled?
or maybe picked up twice a week. But, yeah. But as it is right now, I don't know if any of you realize, Harvey's has had a really difficult time. They used to pick up on Thursdays. Thursdays are one of our busy, well, all of our days are busy, but Thursdays are
How are
very
they
busy.
gonna get the truck down there with all the
They
cars?
changed to Friday. So
Oh,
Fridays
good,
we have,
they're not open more.
Friday we're, open by
Just for-
appointment and for a food pantry and so they can definitely back down there. But yeah, so we're lucky that they have to get in cars for backing down. So that's, I'll keep you all posted, but that, so you're all in agreement, the 15th should work. Those of you that.
Yeah, I'll be
want to
there.
our meeting.
I have a silly question.
Yeah.
Everybody always says that the trash pickup person, the driver and does it, is Phil. Do we only have one person that works in the town and drives the trash pickup truck?
But
That's what I've heard also.
So it's just with this one guy, Phil.
Yeah.
You mean from Harvey? Whoever he is, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, and it's up, but it's
Very
very
considerate.
That's the whole town.
Really? Wow. I'll have to go up and say hi to him.
I know.
It's like a nice Christmas bonus.
Yeah, hi, Phil.
He's worth it.
Yeah,
One
Once
guy
I
does
steps
the whole
out, it's
town.
fine and everything, but it's only.
Years ago, there used to be two people in the truck too. Now he does everything.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does.
Drives.
I wonder if we're gonna start getting those things that get picked up automatically.
Some people
Upton
already
has
have
them.
them.
Yeah.
Some people in
Yeah.
town already have.
We
them.
don't know them.
I don't have it. I just have the regular round. But I would like to have one.
yeah, it's easy, easy peasy.
Huh.
Yeah, but that's his name. Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Okay, follow up to the staff board training we had on the 25th.
I was very pleased with how it went. I'm sorry that Mark Russo couldn't join us. But we had good attendance. I thought the training went well. I heard some very positive things from a few of my staff members. So yeah, I don't know if any of you have anything to add.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
It's supposed to be team building and I really like the fact that she focused on our mission. Phil and I met with her and she got a sense of who we were, what we were hoping to do, and I like the direction she took it. I don't know, Phil, if you were
I thought-
pleased too.
I would agree. I think the mission is really who do we serve? We all get along, which is good. We need to do that, but and we need to build that bonding, but who do we serve? People, all those folks that walk in the building.
I'm very, very pleased with it. And I think it's important for us to do that, at least once a year. I know some of you do come to the MCOA conferences, the small and rural, when I don't have dates yet, but I will probably next month in March, I'll have dates for say April or May. So if any of you would like to come to that, we can try to.
What month did you say?
I'm not sure if it's April or May, they haven't posted it yet. But as soon as I have the dates, I'll let you know. I know we've taken the van before.
Yeah, that's.
No, this is the one in Sturbridge,
Sturbridge.
small and rural, which is nice. It's very similar, but the price is right.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
it's like $30 for the first person and $10 for every other.
Oh, wow.
It was nice with the van too,
Yeah.
we didn't have to cop them.
The one down in Falmouth is about $200 a person, which is why we. So.
We're going to review our updated behavior policy.
And technically, we've already done it. I think last month Betsy had asked about it. I didn't have the actual, finalized copy here. So, because it was December, you all agreed on the wording. The last month we talked about it. I didn't have the finalized copy for the three of us to sign. And so I changed the date to today's date. If everybody wants to.
We're going to sign.
Just for everybody to just look at, I've got the original.
It's funny because I didn't always pay attention to the rules at the Y. Since we started talking about this, I noticed they got a big sign up in the pool area. And the final thing it says is that the lifeguard has the final say on any behavior, written or unwritten.
I'll come down.
We have to point out, got that.
No, but it was written or unwritten. It's like, he has the final say and it's that.
So, I don't know if anybody would like to read this aloud to see it again. I'm sorry, I'm not, let me change it.
I'll read it aloud. acceptable behavior policy. Participants of the Mendon Senior Center and the Mendon Food Pantry, as well as riders on the senior center van, are all expected to use acceptable forms of behavior which do not infringe on the rights of others. Each person is expected to conduct oneself in a courteous and cooperative manner. Profanity is not permitted. Confrontation resulting in the raising of the voice with another center participant is prohibited. Confrontation with center personnel is prohibited. Suggestions for program improvement and/or changes, except in emergency situations, should be made to the director of the center in writing. The penalty for improper conduct, such as refusing to conform to the above, will result in the following. First offense, a meeting with the senior center director will be called to review the acceptable behavior policy with documentation signed by the participant stating they fully understand the policy. Second offense, the senior center and additional services will be off limits for a period of 1 week. Third offense, the senior center and additional services will be off limits for an indefinite period as determined by the entire vote of the COA. And that's as of February 8th, 2020. Any questions on it? Any comments on it?
I'm curious, so was there a previous similar behavior policy and this is an updated version?
Years ago.
2007,
Okay,
and then we updated in 2016. Believe it or not, it took that long till there was an infraction that, brought it to light and it was changed. And then
Yeah,
just recently, something else brought it to light.
the infraction was on the van, right?
The recent one.
Yeah, so we,
Yeah.
that's why we
so
understand.
okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
And we added the food pantry too.
Right, right.
Does you wanted to sign this one? Is this the one you
Yeah,
wanted?
that's
Oh,
it.
sorry.
We voted on here, so I can present.
Well, they had already voted on it previous.
So I may use this for our meeting. Thank you.
Looks good. Been working on that for a while. Nice to put it to bed. The line's right, like it was on page. Is it right? Hey, boss. This one, Done. I make a copy of the poster on our bulletin board.
Okay, next item, review and update funding request. Friends of Albany, 2020.
So, back in February, I brought a draft request to you. And I'm assuming that Betsy brought it to the president because the Friends had it at their meeting. I know there have been several incarnations since then. There's been a couple meetings where Friends have looked at it and I know the president has looked at it. And then lastly, they've got several different copies. So I don't actually have anything to give you because again, there are so many different copies. There's our first one. There's after, one meeting, another meeting, and the last meeting. So I'm assuming they're going to be voting on it on Monday. Peg and I met with Dottie Garceau, the president, to discuss some of the numbers. And just to let you know, what they're calling the COA budget isn't just the COA budget. It's got, some Friends things, like the scholarship is not a COA item, Friends item, so that's in there. And then some of these stamps and mailings are things that apply to the Friends and things, not just the senior center. So, they've made some changes. And I think their board is going to have to vote on it.
Is it basically the same category as you told us at the last, we have beautification, fly the flag, entertainment, program/copier supplies, director's discretionary fund, and fitness programs. Those were the categories you told us.
They're different ones. She expanded it some, and like the Fly the Flag program, I did, and that's not down here in its own category. I'm not sure if she was including that in beautification or perhaps in veterans. I'm not sure. Because she changed the numbers on some of the things that we had previously, looked at. So
I thought beautification was just the surrounding areas. I didn't think it was flag.
But I don't
That's
see-
expensive,
I
isn't
don't,
it?
Fly the Flags we're not sure, it's either 150 or 200. They haven't gotten the new bill for this year. So, but that wasn't on here. So,
If that's included in beautification, then we're gonna need more than $500.
yeah, no, beautification, Dottie, when she met with Peg and I, it looked like she,
Was it 550?
550, good memory, good memory.
Oh,
That's something good.
yeah.
550. So, but again, it's changed a couple of times. Here there was one version where it was 600 for beautification. So I'm not sure what they're gonna allocate ultimately, but I know that the bottom line is well over $5,000. I think the line.
Yeah, she brought it up. She wanted an even number. We were like $100 off or something. And I have to say, the Friends have always been so generous.
Yes.
And if there's the prices do go up and things, and the Friends have always said, absolutely.
They've taken that
Because
into
everybody-
consideration.
You come to the center, it's so welcoming. You see the beautiful, and should be thanked for that. You see the beautiful flowers in the boxes and I mean, even the flying of the flag and everything. It's just so nice to come here.
Yeah, it has in the inside too, it just has a
Yeah,
very
it
homey,
does, it
welcoming
does.
atmosphere.
And we thank the Friends for that.
I know she's taking that into
I think
consideration.
being small helps us to be that way, though, in a way. I mean, I know we need more room and we've got to expand, but you're gonna lose a little bit of that, I
Yes,
think.
yes, and you're right about that, but in my heart, I really hate turning people away who want to come to
Right.
the
Yeah,
activities,
we need more room, definitely. Kitchen is too small, everybody's bumping into each other.
Yes.
I'm not clear what the next step in this process.
Mine would be, this is the Friends budget. I mean, they're calling it the COA budget, but it's really what they're determining they would allow for us, to,
funds available.
yeah,
to
funds
us.
available to us. Some of the things we may not use as much money as they're allotting.
Like the discretionary account. And the discretionary account, when we discussed it, was for the months that when the Friends aren't there. We don't meet as friends, we don't meet in the summer. But Amy might have something that she needs funds for. So we'd have that,
Tires for the van.
yeah, whatever.
Last year, I think you only used 4,750 of it,
Of the whole,
of the whole budget.
Right,
I know. So I was surprised that, she was at one point,
It increased it.
took 5,800 on one of these versions, there's 5,450 on another. So that's why, if you're at all interested or concerned, please go to the meeting on Monday. And we can, we can review this together.
And with the change with the board meeting first before the meeting, you guys meeting before, I think that's going to have a lot of the information solidified.
But Dottie did change numbers based on what the expenses were last year. They're just, one thing she did assign to director's discretionary, which I don't think was correct, was the fact that I had asked for to pay for the minstrels for our pizza party at the end of the year. And Dottie had suggested that we pay for everybody. And then she put that under director's discretionary and.
No, that's for certain other things.
Yeah, and I think, I think the thing about the minstrels are providing entertainment. So I think that should go under entertainment, but that's, again, something we need to kind of work out with the Friends.
And as a minstrel, and we've got a couple here, I mean, if the cost is $5, I don't have a problem paying the $5, even though I'm singing. And when Earl plays the piano so beautifully, I mean, they ask you for $5 for the lasagna, I'm sure. it's
No,
not gonna be-
but I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right.
Usually though, when we sing, it's usually a potluck, isn't it?
That's in the fall.
Oh,
In the spring, something, I think last year, it
oh, in
was-
the spring, we don't do a
in
potluck?
the spring, it was pizza and salad last
Oh,
year.
that's right.
We could do a potluck again this year. Those are coming back and people are enjoying them. But last year was just something special and I just thought that the Friends the singers shouldn't have to see for their own.
There's a lot of us now. Let me tell you, there's a lot of us.
Mm,
That was a question.
12 singers.
I'm going back to your, notes here. And it says for the, I was reading on the scholarship. I thought the scholarship went to a student from each school. And this is saying that it's going to be either or.
But
No,
it's
it's
one,
not either, it's one to each school, as far as I know.
Because
That's a
how I'm
change,
reading
though.
this.
it used to be one scholarship, right? But as long as they were a Mendon resident, they could go to any school. That was my understanding.
Was, I think it was always two for 250, and then it could be, it could have been two to NIPA, two to, you know.
But last year was just one for 500.
Yeah, that's all we've given, and I think in the last 3 or 4 years. we haven't
It's
given-
just one.
Yeah, and that's going to be discussed. That's one of the things in the.
Yeah, you'll have a chairman picked for that.
Just like reading it now, I'm seeing a one scholarship to be qualified to either Blackstone Valley or Nipmuc. And I thought it was like half went to one school and half went to the other school.
So
And then
it's either or, I believe. It's
Because you
just
have
one
other kids in
500.
Mendon that go to other schools.
Yeah.
Norfolk,
St. Charles.
St. Giles.
So it's,
If they're doing volunteer work at the center, then they should be in the competition for it. They're putting in their hours. But you'll handle that at your own meeting.
right, and they're going to make sure that that's part of the bylaws and things that are being corrected. Yeah.
thank you.
Nice that you're able to do
So,
that.
yeah, please come Monday.
Peter.
Goals and events for 2023.
You know, I didn't give us additional copies. I don't know that we need to hammer that out anymore this month, but we went over it last month and yeah,
The sign-up sheets are already out, like all the February events,
all the February events.
but not the March
Yeah,
events.
the March, I just put out, countdown to 65 for Blue Cross program in March. The Ukraine program is the beginning of March, so I wanted that to go out.
Sure.
It's March 2nd.
And the
So-
Orchestra of One is coming up on the
Yeah, that's
14th.
the 14th. I'm holding that back, just to break, you know, we don't have enough space.
Right,
and,
right, no, that's okay.
Yeah. But there's gonna be that, and there's gonna be a shepherd's pie luncheon that's going with that.
March 2nd is what?
Ukrainian, it's a talk on Ukraine.
Oh, that's right, yep.
And now my favorite events, the yearly conflict of interest.
So did anybody get an email yesterday? Oh, a lot of you don't check your.
I checked my email this morning.
So I've been asking her, I've been saying, she's been waiting from the state. Everything's gonna be online, so you're not gonna be printing out a piece of paper. She being the town clerk is gonna have access to it. It's coming, but my question too was the initial signature for receipt of.
We haven't done it.
We haven't gotten it, so, but again, I think it's on a state level. It hasn't filtered down yet,
Are
so
we going to be able to do it on our own computers?
I hope
Or we
so.
have to come into?
No, I hope so. But some people will come into the center because it might be easier for
Is
them.
it coming on a home email too, or just the town email?
Well, no, I think what you would, good point. What I'll do when it
Oh,
does
I
come
never
in,
read my town email.
when it comes in, I will forward it to all of you. That's what I think I've done.
And it will get done right away.
And I asked her yesterday, my last question was, how long, when is it due? She said 1 month from receipt, so,
We'll get it done.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time for new business. And we start off with the annual report, 2022.
So, yeah, so you've got, right now it's just the statistics, right? We generally have to pull all the numbers together before we really formalize the report. So Melissa, Janet, and myself have worked on these numbers and in the comparison between year and this year. And you can see the town's population has gone down, senior population has gone up. Senior population is now 27.7%. This is as of the 25th, of January 25th. So, and I'm pleased to know that it was encouraging during the pandemic that all of our numbers were so low accordingly, because nobody was coming to center. It's nice to see that they're all increasing. The phone calls have increased, the people we're serving have increased. I've given breakdowns of individuals that are under, 60, so that ultimately it's about 12% of what we do. 12% are under 60 for fuel assistance, food pantry, other kinds, it could be other insurance programs. I'm giving you a total of the nutritional participants last year was 2,027 for the food pantry, that's Panera, that's for lunches, whole thing. The van transportation's gone up. Outreach numbers have gone up. Fuel assistance clients, now look at that. The town, 86 people in this town received fuel assistance last year, a total of $86,000. Now granted, we only serve a small portion of those, they have to come through us first. We do the initial application. In following years, people can do it themselves. I always encourage people to still come back to us and have us review the information, because if your paperwork isn't complete the first time, you get set aside on a to-do pile later. So, but yeah, total 86 people, households received fuel assistance last year to the tune of $86,000. So it was about $1,000 per applicant that was approved. That was up from $52,000 the previous year. Food pantry numbers stayed about the same. Deliveries went up a little, but the number of households went down. We had 63 households in 2021. We had 47 households last year. So that tells me that people took advantage of the assistance when they needed it. Number of volunteers is shy of what our highest numbers have been like 130. But of course, we're not operating to that capacity. 50 volunteers, 1,627 hours. And that doesn't include community groups. That doesn't include Brothers of the Brush, the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Lions Club, but 1,627 volunteer hours. It's pretty incredible. And then municipal groups. I'm glad to see that they've come back. Before the pandemic, we generally had about 20 community groups using the center. Right now, we're holding at 10, and we have, they've used the center to the tune of 52 times. 52 times last year. Usually it's well over 100 when we have full capacity. But we've got Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Lions Club, Thimble Pleasures Guilds. And it seems to be working out really well. I know we were very, initially we were leery, we wanted to keep everybody safe, and but I think it's working out well.
I think I asked you this on the phone the other day, but last weekend was just bitter cold. Did they contact you at all about using our center as a warming center? Because no, it was so
And if
cold.
power had gone out, they would have had to, I think, if that power went out, because the houses would have cooled off
Yes.
really
Oh, yeah.
fast.
And I don't know how anyone's paying their electric bills. That really, they're sky high. I mean, fuel assistance covers electricity if you heat with electricity, but
But not only that, fuel assistance also gives you a discount on electricity. So
Right.
sometimes people apply for it
just to get
to get that. So, but I think all in all, it was a very busy year. I'm very pleased. We geared up from having two years where, we didn't have as many people coming into the building, of course. And it looks like we're getting back on track. Does anybody have any question about the numbers?
no,
or-
thank you for doing this. It's good to see it.
So this is something I will send to the select board and the FinCom before our meeting. If there's anything that you think that they need further breakdown, we can do that. I don't usually get asked a lot of questions. But not to say that you don't have to be a plant.
Do you have any thoughts on it, of how we could make this a better report for you?
It looks very clear to me at this point, but if I think of anything, I'll let you know. So, yeah, but it looks, I'm impressed by the numbers.
And I gotta tell you, these numbers are low. If you looked 7 years ago, instead of 8,000, you'd have 12,000 people, interactions, people coming to the
Okay.
center. But
So this is rebuilding
this is
right
rebuilding.
after the
Yes.
pandemic.
Our van numbers, those can be well up into 2,000 when we're fully running.
Right.
But, and the van is cyclical too. There comes a time where, people stop driving and then they need the services. And then they may age out or they may move, things like that. But those numbers have been well over 2,000 for van runners.
do you have a similar document from a few years ago?
Oh, sure.
Pre-pandemic, I'd just be sort
Sure.
of curious to
Sure.
see it. I mean, it's a lot to fit on one page, but
Yep.
I'm curious.
Well, do we put this in the town
Yeah,
report?
it's-
This would go in the town
Interesting.
report, so maybe if you have access to all the.
Oh, just, I do have the old books.
Yeah,
So,
these are in all the books.
Okay, all right, I'll flip back through.
But that's interesting under total people served,
Mhm,
individuals under 60 years of age
mhm.
needing rides in the town.
Yep. And then that they
There's no
have to be
public
disabled,
transportation.
but disabled can be a temporary disability.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody had a broken leg or things like that. One thing we do kind of have to, probably should discuss at some point in separate transportation would be if somebody lived in town and then moved to an assisted living facility, but their spouse continued to live in town, and then, because this happened recently, and then they needed a ride from that facility to another facility, is that, is that permissible? I first glance said no, because the person hasn't been living in town for a couple of years now. Their spouse lives here, but they don't, but they needed a ride from one facility to another, so I don't know.
Well, that spouse still lives here, right?
It's kind of what I need to-
Yeah. He's paying taxes in town and he's resident here. I mean, if it's something that's very infrequent and you're not talking about moving them to another state.
I think it should be that a case by case look at and see what's going on. Why are they being transported from this facility to that? So, or, I mean, if it's going, like, we're in the facility to go shopping over in another
No.
town.
Oh, yeah, I don't think.
It might be something that has to be handled on a case by
Yeah, that's
case
what I was just
basis.
saying.
Yeah.
And the situation has been taken care of, but it was, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, like, well, they're not living in town or, so, but.
But the town that they are living in, where the facility is, I wonder if there'd be any help available through that town.
Probably not,
No,
because when you're in a private facility, the town's not gonna help you. Would the facility help you? I don't know. But it's something we should address, because it may come up more often.
Would it be of interest? I don't know. I know you mentioned phone inquiries for medical equipment, but would it be of interest to let people know how much equipment we give out to people in the community that need to have those kinds of stuff?
We could do that.
Anytime I
Primary
see-
source.
Like yesterday, for example, I've got a woman from Mendon is going for a knee replacement next week. She came in, she had called previously, we made arrangements. She came in, she got a walker, some crutches and a commode. And she will return them. And I'll tell you, during the pandemic, we did a lot of that. Well, the post when they could start operating again, people coming in for those three things in particular. So, and then they would return them at the end of, they finish their PT and all that, so.
Well, on the Mendon page, I see it all the time. Anytime somebody's looking for equipment, either myself or at least 5 or 6 people say, please contact the senior center. We've got equipment.
And it's not just seniors. I've done more, rentals to families whose son, or mostly it's their son has broken this or that during playing football. We have a now scooter, and we kneeling scooters for people that can't put weight on their ankles. So that's gone out to non-senior families. So it's nice that the word gets out there. The issue is when it starts coming from other towns, I get a little bit less. Other senior centers tell
Is that because they don't have enough?
because they don't have it, period. They don't have a place to store it.
See, I was gonna say, because I'm sure that a lot of people, we're cleaning up my mother-in-law's house and we had stuff to donate and things like that. But she lived in Milford, so called Milford. But it's the storage, where they're gonna put those things. Mark did a great job putting up all of the
Yes.
nails and stuff so things could hang.
well, look at us, we're paying for storage.
Yep.
We don't have enough.
We have to.
We don't have
We
enough.
have to, because you know what, I mean, with all those wheelchairs and transport chairs in the garage, and the Friends are gonna be needing the use of the garage very soon, because their yard sales gonna be coming up. The weather gets better, we can put the van out after the window gets fixed. And so we have a leaky window. So, but yeah, we definitely needed a place to
The fact that people can borrow medical equipment is really a big help to them.
Yes.
It's very expensive.
Hospital
You
bed,
have
so
to
we have,
buy it.
we have another hospital bed coming back today, so we have 2 hospital beds, and it happens, it usually happens that I have 2 people at the same time needing hospital beds, and we don't have them then. So we'll reach out to other centers, and centers are pretty good about, I just got an email yesterday from, I want to say Bellingham, saying, anybody need a hospital bed, does anybody have a comment? So we try to help them.
That's why I was saying, I was wondering if we should add something to this about how much of this stuff we actually do. It's time consuming.
Okay, we can break it down.
Do people, not that it's expected, but do people generally give you some type of a donation or something for the
Not
use of the
usually,
people?
not usually, I'd say
Equipment.
out of 25, maybe one,
Well, it's too
but
bad.
that's okay, but
I
that's.
understand that, but what I'm just thinking is if you had to pay out of pocket for something like this,
Yes.
even renting it,
And
and
unfortunately,
things wear out and have to be replaced.
somebody will come to us after they've already purchased, or they'll come for their spouse or whatever, after they've purchased one item and seen, oh, that was $dollars. Oh, and then somebody will say, have you checked your senior center? And it's like, too bad you didn't check in the first place. But yeah, I mean, we could nicely say, when we put the blurb in the newsletter, we could say, donations or
Monetary
monetary
donation.
donations welcome. I mean, would you guys be okay with that? Although this is a free service, monetary, I mean, the money would go into the COA gift account, is where it would go.
This service over the past 10 years has grown. When I first started volunteering, we didn't have as much equipment. Now
We're big business.
it's everywhere.
No, we've got the nice shed. where
Well,
most of it is
right.
there.
Let's hope they're grateful enough to even ask, could I?
You think about it, if you want something, send,
Well, things wear out. The more people that are using the things, they wear out, they have to be replaced.
Do you get many new donations?
we get some some people anticipate they're gonna need things. And so, but then they don't, and they bring them to us, walkers with the tag still on them, I mean. Roads with the tag still on them.
Well, let it stay the way it is then for now, but I was just thinking, if it were me, I would be grateful and say, take this for the food pantry.
We could even say, we're grateful for any, we are grateful for any monetary donations. We don't need to purchase any new things per se. Only once I got grants to purchase transport chairs for individuals over 400 pounds, because that's something we don't get in a lot. We get in tiny, tiny chairs, and even if you're not 400, sometimes those tiny chairs aren't big enough. So I did get a grant, and unfortunately, one of them hasn't come back. The other one did.
Would monetary donations have to go to the friends?
No, they go to the COA gift account. They could do either. It could be where you would direct it.
Those over 400-pound chairs, I saw one at the hospital the other day, as I was helping a couple. Didn't fit through the doors. of the hospital.
You don't want me to say anything at this time, that we didn't know.
You could put it on.
So if the chair wouldn't fit through the doors at the hospital, how do they get the person into the hospital?
Well, into the women's pavilion upstairs to go to see a cardiologist. We had to get him to stand up, fold him up, try to fold the chair up a little bit to get through. But because it just missed, but it was an oversized chair, and it was a heavy chair.
It wasn't a transport chair, it was a regular.
It was the hospital's chair.
Oh, it was a hospital. Okay.
It was the hospital's chair.
Okay, let's go on to the last item on here. I assume you mean AARP.
Yes.
So the AAPR.
We didn't do volunteer appreciation.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're
All
right.
right,
You're
right,
right.
you didn't do volunteer appreciation. I checked it out. Okay, volunteer appreciation, May 17th.
So we have entertainment, we have a magician, the last volunteer appreciation that was slated back in 2020, which didn't happen. We had a different theme, we had the cowboy theme, we knew what we were gonna do, so we're not doing that, but looking for ideas for, food, we could start a subgroup if you want. to discuss what we want for food that day, what we want for the theme. We did a magician once before, and so we did have magic as our theme, but you don't necessarily have to have magic as your theme. It could be anything. It could be springtime, it could be, so I don't know if anybody has any
We
thoughts.
used to give little gifts too.
I thought the Weston theme, I thought you had already purchased
Yeah,
things for it.
yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, and then, I don't know how to tie magic into that, but I've got the paper for the invitations. I know Anne liked the idea of those little Tabasco sauces, but those were, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah,
Those were like $1 each.
that was kind of,
They
it was
were
expensive.
so cute, though. You'd seen it at another senior center
I
or
did.
something. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she showed them to me too. They were cute.
They were really cute.
I got them.
We
They're
do
from
have
Amazon.
the bottle openers that says men in senior centers. It's like the 5-way opener thing. Men in senior centers, loves its volunteers. We do have those.
Well, why don't we set up a committee?
Okay.
I'll be on that committee. Does anybody else want to be on that committee?
I'll be on it. with you.
Okay, great. There's 3 of us then. We've got plenty of time.
Well, we didn't do the Weston theme, and I know a lot of the pieces she had purchased, so I don't
I
know.
got a few ideas.
You're a queen of ideas.
I'll go into my attic and see what I got.
Well, so they're gonna be.
Gonna be bandanas, cowboy hats. and-
Yes, you know what? We've got the bandanas. And those were tricky. Those were because it
I
was
think you
right,
bought those too.
it was when the pandemic started. I was
Started.
getting them through the library. And
Carol.
they finally came during the pandemic because everybody wanted bandanas during the pandemic. So we couldn't get them, but they were still on order and then they came in. So yes, we do have that. I mean, if you wanna
You
somehow.
seem to have a lot of the
paraphernalia. Thank you, Carol, for.
Yeah, it probably is a shame to waste all that.
Yep.
Put it,
So then we really just need to think about the food again.
yeah.
And I'm sure in my file I have.
The magician, instead of wearing a magician's top hat, he could wear a cowboy hat.
He's actually, he's more casual. He's not like the last magician had like, I won't even say, he had like a tux on.
Oh, yeah.
This one, he's more casual, but you're right. So maybe a cowboy.
Yeah,
hat
to
would
wear a
be-
cowboy.
Actually, I think he would do that too.
All right, we'll pick a date after.
So yes, Earl, it's supposed to say AARP Tax Preparation Services. So I think last year we were invited to participate over in Hopedale. And this is something I've been, when I first came to Mendon, one of the first directors meetings I went to, AARP was there. And I said, you know what, I want to bring the tax program to Mendon. I was told, nope, you're too small. No, you don't have a private area to do it. And again, no, you're too small. So every year we have to, for our clients, where can they go? Can they go to Bellingham? Can they go to Upton? Can they go to Milford Library? And a lot of times we're met with, and our clients are met with unfriendly people saying, sorry, you're not from Milford, you know. But Hopedale, we kind of have a nice affiliation with Hopedale. Nancy Mosier was our first outreach worker. She started the program here. And they're another small center. And so we try to do some trainings together. So last year, they invited us. What happened by default, they had previously been told the same thing. They're too small, you don't have a private area, all these things, which people like Tri-Valley thought those things of us too, but they saw that we could overcome them with putting up a petition wall, changing it at different times. So what happened here, last year, Hopedale invited us. They got the slot by default because someone else in Hopedale didn't pick it up, some agency. So they personally invited our people. We had a place, finally, we didn't have to say, try Bellingham, try this one, try that.
You
So
didn't have to go with hat in hand.
this year they came back to us, or I went to them and said, are we doing it again? Can we participate? So that was well and fine. Well, their director called like a week ago and said, hey, just want to let you know, we're filling up fast. We've got some more slots, gave me a list of the slots, which I shared with Outreach, and then said, and I'm sure if we need it, they'll probably give us another week, because they only have like 3 days a week. This is so people who are low income can get help with their taxes, their annual tax return. So they're very grateful to Hopedale for allowing us to do that. And then Right, well, when you go into the next, this open forum, I just have something little in mind to add.
Okay. And that's what we're gonna do now, open for. Anybody have anything on open forum? they'd like to Bring up, you may just.
Just you and me.
So I guess, I'm sorry, I really just wanted to put a plug in for, employees. Melissa has been doing a great job, looking at the craft program, working with, senior volunteers, coming up with ideas and, very- perhaps I like them, but they're not my thing. And, you know, before her, Laura, you know, handled that. And so that's really been working out nice. Janet, I want to let you know, this year, last year we did like 20 some odd, fuel assistance applications. Let's see here. Last year we did, actually, no, there was a total of 58. She does the bulk of them. I do probably 5 to not quite 10, probably at least a good solid 5. I think as the director, number one, to support her because we're coming fast and furious. This year, she's done twice as many as she did last year. And still going. We just had to request more applications from SMART out of Framingham because we did our initial allotment of applications. So I really want to put a plug in front of Janet and then the drivers. We are so blessed to have 2 drivers that just go above and beyond. The only thing I can say is I really need to clone them because they do have conflicts. You know, Santa goes off somewhere. Santa's going off for a training during the school vacation. We're going to probably not have any van service during April school vacation. But it happens to be a 4-day, well, for us it'll be a 3-day week, so it'll just be what it'll be. I've had 2 prospective applicants. They filled out the application and then life happens. They call me back and say, sorry, I'm just not in a good place right now.
Is it the type of thing that an area town might have someone who would pitch in?
You know, I will tell you, area towns are sending out emails saying, hey, do you have any drivers that need more hours? You know, so right now I think there's a shortage of drivers. I know some of the other towns are asking that, say, be it a new director, like they ask, like, how much do your drivers make? I mean, we ask to share things so that they can then have information to kind of stand behind maybe a paying fees for their people. So, but for the most part, it's not a big issue except for a couple times a year. So, and then one of them will be April school vacation.
What's the requirements for it?
That's what I was trying to.
CDL. No, CDL because we're a 13 passenger, so you don't have to be CDL. There are several different classes you need to take. What are you thinking, Tom?
I think they want to go fast.
Yeah. That's what it's
There's no
not.
speed limit thing,
So
Oh, I'm sorry. I slowed down between everything.
the last person I had to get asked about it seriously, like in the fall, I'm a veteran, he'd like to help out. Then come to find out he'd rather do it in his own car, you know, things like that.
May I get a suggestion?
Yes.
School bus drivers.
because they're
off
off
on
that
vacations and during the summer, so maybe contact, I don't know who does your school busing on here and then but ask them, do they have a driver there?
Very good.
Well, in Blackstone, it's Telestone and Blackstone, he has a lot
Yeah,
of
well,
buses.
that's- In Franklin, it would be homes and things
Okay,
like
That's a
that.
good suggestion.
I mean, and we really wouldn't have a lot of work for them, but,
Have one driver, then
Yeah.
have one.
Because they could fill in like April vacation, they'd be off.
yes,
School.
I'm
And you wouldn't have
curious,
to
I'm
worry about
curious what they
storms
make
or
for
anything, say what's going on.
Get a
Oh,
feeling.
I'm sure that they probably make 3 times as much, but that's okay.
You know, if they're school bus drivers, they're quarried, right?
No, we have to quarry them. So if you, like, for example, people such as Donna, who's, you know, volunteered for Tri-Valley, when she came to the center, she had to be quarried for the town of Mendon, then she had to be quarried for Tri-Valley. If you were to go up to the school, like I think you've done, Ann, over the years for different programs, you have to be quarried by the school. So
I don't remember, was I?
did you,
I don't remember.
you did one of the
I
programs?
did that the boat
Yeah.
fair a couple
Yeah,
times.
you had to be quarried for that.
I must have done it, and then I don't
I,
remember.
you know,
Well,
I
they
just
do the
gave you the
paperwork, yeah.
paper and I get you, and I brought everything up in one packet to
Yeah,
them.
oh, that's right.
So, yeah, but you have to be quarried for every single.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
But anyway, I just wanted to say, you know, our employees are, you know, really, we're blessed to have them and,
Well, they have their families too, you know,
Yep.
like all of us.
But then on the other hand, with the school, this is going back to how much of the school bus drivers we pay. They probably get unemployment for the week they're off on vacation.
Do you think so? I wonder.
It's 10.99.
Well, something to think about. It's a good suggestion.
What about this? We didn't really talk about this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we will, yes.
Bill, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. This guy here, we had last week, I told you, last meeting. We went to a meeting down from the Cape, and all the different towns came together and said, here's all the wonderful stuff we do. I just took the pictures of the wall and put it into a slide presentation. And, you know, to my surprise, if you look at this, I think we probably do 80% of this in our small little town,
We do.
which is phenomenal. And the second thing here is one of the things Amy was talking about before. There's a program that, you know, somebody comes up and suggests that they may want to try to drive, or it would be good for the community. You know, potentially I could help, you know, orchestrate that program. But Amy and I talked about maybe doing some kind of program. You know, my skill, usually it's skill oriented, but maybe I can go find something skill. So if you guys take a look at this and come up with a program idea, run it by Amy, and if it makes sense, we can add it to our list. But I was surprised, really surprised at the number of programs.
And you know, Phil, too, some of them we have done too, like Zumba. We tried Zumba under a grant program and it's just 12 people would sign up to come and take it, 4 people would show up, you know, and it could be expensive with these. And then podiatry, I mean, that's one that's kind of fallen by the wayside because of the pandemic. People had to go places, we weren't open, we didn't have a podiatrist, so they went, they found this place, that place, so. And podiatrists want like a minimum number of like 8 to 10 to come to our center. We were, our last numbers were like 5. But it'd be nice to get that back.
Yeah, and as the numbers here, as you look at the numbers increasing. Amy, I think, actually, there's some other programs that could increase too. It goes to the size of the facility, it goes back to that original set.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing the number of things that we do for volunteers. and everything.
Yeah, I know we can set a Mother's Day cheer on here. We don't have a Mother's Day cheer, we can cheer for the people, 85.
But I think that's a good sign on everybody here back.
Yep.
Yeah, do a super job.
I tried this year to do the root beer float day and it just didn't float. I had the root beer, I had the ice cream, I mean, it just, but we had something else going on and it just. Oh, you know what it was? I wanted to do it during the silent movie program, but that honestly, did anybody of you come to that silent movie program? That was wonderful. It was, yeah, it was very good. He played the piano while we were watching original silent movies.
Yeah, they do that in
Buster
theaters.
Keaton, Buster Keaton.
No, I didn't know that.
Did you have popcorn?
No.
Yeah, the only thing that, you know, might be interesting to think about is if we talk to our folks, people who come and ask them, hey, is there anything that you'd be interested in looking at
Yep.
this year? You know,
Here's an idea for that.
That's enough for people.
I'm just looking at the mission thing. The idea of a men's breakfast sounds interesting to me because right now we do it for the veterans. but people
You know what? Very good.
Guess once, twice a year.
There you go. Now,
Men's breakfast. We go to lunch.
we can have it at the center.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, or you said you could go to Will's, but
At the center.
now would women be allowed to cook or not?
Oh, yeah.
This allowed stuff.
We couldn't get left to do it.
Cook for men's breakfast.
Oh, the men will cook for their own breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And clean up.
Yes.
That sounds like DoorDash.
Oh, goodness.
It's man dash.
Wasn't there a woman's breakfast there?
Brunch.
Brunch.
Yeah, we went to brunch. So the men gonna cook for that for us?
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. Like we were asked about pickleball. Remember that? was like a year
Somebody wanted to do that.
Mark and us, but we, right now, we just don't have the space to sit there.
We have bocce.
Yeah.
Bocce.
We do have Wii bowling, but it's not in play right now.
But anyway, this is an idea. I thought I'd just share what they were, all the towns are sharing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a good workshop, huh?
Yeah, it's very interesting to see.
Better than zero brains.
And what town was that,
From,
where you went?
this was the,
Falmouth.
down the Falmouth.
Oh, Falmouth.
Summertime camp.
So these are just some of the examples of other
Other towns.
Other towns,
All the workshops,
events they do.
all the different towns, what they asked you to do is put on the posters what your town did. So everybody got up and they put on their weekly stuff.
You put on a lot yourself?
Well, I took this, because I was me too, but I took this, oh, here's a bunch of stuff.
There you go.
So I had my contribution to it, but everybody else had their ideas. And then some of the unique ones, some of the folks talked about, you know, some of the things we talked about before, like, how do you, the LGBT community, how do you treat that? And some communities had where they have, it was more uncomfortable for the seniors, just being seniors talking, because typically our age don't address that well. They combined some kind of afternoon youth program with the seniors, trying to get together and just talk about, the elders would talk about their experiences being non-standard. I'll call it that. I'm going to be politically incorrect, I'm sure. And the kids would have to listen to them and understand what they went through. To identify. So it was kind of interesting, but it depends on the demand of the people.
You know, and we did have a similar program. I don't, does anybody remember Kim Soak? He came from Nipmuc he and a friend of his started our technology program every Tuesday afternoon. But before they started with any class or lessons, they would sit and they would talk about current events. But that was driven by the kids. And that program lasted for, I want to say, 6 years. But as the kids aged out and went on to college, and that was a group called the Nipmuc Friends of Seniors. Fortunately, I don't believe it exists anymore. Because the last group we had, four great students, they were all seniors. They just didn't do enough
You
recruiting.
kind of, yeah, you kind of need to rotate it through. I don't know, is there an outreach into the schools to see how you could tap that? Maybe we could do that.
Yeah. Good.
You know, maybe-
Well, right now we have,
I enjoyed the technology.
we have Watchmaker too, and then, but that young man too, he and his Patrick and his sister, I believe. Was that right?
It was a whole family. I
He
think
had
his mom
sister. She
came.
took an application. He's emailed me and asked if he could come volunteer again. So right there.
Yeah.
Just a matter of choosing a day, and I think Mondays work well after the minstrels. So,
Because they don't get out of school until like 2:30.
Yeah. That's the thing, it's gonna be after, it's gonna be
Yeah.
typically after school.
You know, it's getting lighter now, so. Because when it gets dark at 4 o'clock, a lot of the seniors, they want to be home. They want to be home. They don't want to, no, I don't agree.
That's all in favor.
Lights are like. Yeah, oh, that's true.
Okay, anything else in open forum? Okay, we have our next meeting date set for March 8th. 2023.
Hey,
I want to thank everybody for coming and participating, and
happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Is everyone going to the,
well, that's your space.
With the friends?
We go to the
Yeah.
police.
Yes, we're going
We're gonna go to the police station here. We've been invited to the police station. Have you just been to tour day yet? Well, you're more than welcome to join us. We haven't seen it yet.
What day?
Today.
Let's go over.
Okay, well, I'm today.
All right. We'll see you over next. Thanks, sir. Good job. Thanks, Amy. Oh, okay.
So now, is this meeting going to be? I just.